Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier, the Monday mashup that we bring you each and every Monday, where we review all the weekend's Premier League action. We look towards whatever midweek action is on, and we talk about all the latest hot topics in the world of football. As always, Dynamo Podcast Network on YouTube for the videos, Spotify for audio versions of the show. And if you want to contact us, we're on Twitter at @the_upper_tier, or you can catch us on Facebook and Instagram, the Upper Tier. Joining me tonight for the mashup, my brother in arms on the previews and reviews, Darren. Also joining me, the podfather of the network, the man who brings you the Chelsea roar now each and every week, never forgetting the blue talk, Ian Kelly. How we doing, Ian?
I'm very good, my brother. It's good to have my two main brothers on with me as well. My two fellow podmen as well. So it's nice to be with you, my brothers.
Absolutely. Also joining us, fresh from Richmond Park, I would imagine, Graham.
Yep.
How we doing, Graham?
All good, man. All good.
You look happy. Did you get the result you wanted?
2-2.
You look very happy for a draw that was at home, but however, you're getting ready for that big FAI Cup, I think, anyway. So we'll see how it goes anyway. Also joining me, of course, Graham, my brother on the Upper Tier as well, who comes on, big Spurs fan, and also we'd have to have a Spurs fan on tonight with everything that's unfolding in the last 24 to 48 hours. But let's get into this first. We'll run down through the results in the Premier League just gone. Leicester 0, Arsenal 2, Burnley 3, Brentford 1. Bit of a shock there. Liverpool 2, Brighton 2. I know that one firsthand. Man City 0, Crystal Palace 2, one of the shocks of the weekend. Newcastle 0, Chelsea 3. Probably
Say it again, baby.
A foregone conclusion, was never in doubt. Watford 0, Southampton 1. Tottenham 0, Man United 3. Into Sunday, Norwich 1, Leeds 2. Aston Villa 1, West Ham 4. And then we round out the weekend this evening with Wolves 2, Everton 1. Big result for Wolves. Man, where do we start? Darren, big win for United. Ollie staying at the wheel so far.
It was a massive win, man. Really, really was. I think it's not an easy game for anyone going to Spurs, you know. Although at the minute they're not probably playing their best football and stuff like that, and Harry looks like he's packed his bags and he's kind of on holidays at the minute on a sabbatical there, but it's not an easy place to go, you know. There's some good players at Spurs, and I was delighted, I have to say, to get out with a victory and to get out with a clean sheet and kind of look, you know, somewhat like a football team this week was really impressive, and it felt great, I have to say. After the previous week, it was just what I needed, that little pick me up, you know, because you know, obviously Sunday week was just horrific, watching us get our pants pulled down at the hands of our biggest rival, you know.
It's pulled down.
Well, that's what happened, you know, and we got absolutely spanked out there, you know, and Liverpool fully deserved our victory, but it was great to get the show back on the road and pick up a win and a much needed clean sheet, you know. It's Sir Alex always said, you know, goals will win you games, but clean sheets will win you league titles, and that's what I feel where United are really struggling at the minute. You know, they haven't been able to keep clean sheets. We've had David De Gea man of the match 4 or 5 times this season, you know, and that'll tell you how busy the guy's been. And we haven't really played any super teams other than obviously Liverpool, who thumped us, and maybe, you know, Spurs, who are an average enough team at the minute, unfortunately for Graham.
Darren, could I just say something quick there? And I don't mean to be like a dickhead or a bearer of bad news here, but I was watching through somebody early. It was actually tonight, and I had a little epiphany to go back to this particular podcast that Niall was so courteous of providing us and all of our fantastic Dynamo Podcast Network listeners. I believe there was a bet at the start of the season with myself and yourself, and I know you were a man of your word and a man of honor. I believe you put on a certain amount of money at the start of the season that United and Chelsea would finish either above or below. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I'm with you on it. You know, yeah.
Do you remember how much you put on it?
Was it 100?
It was 100. In fairness, it was.
Yeah. That's all right. We won't settle it after 10 games, so if that's all right.
The good thing about I'm just letting people know that you're a man of your word here.
Oh, listen, man.
And you definitely are, and I know that verbatim. That's a fact. But no, I just thought I'd throw that out there. Do you still feel confident that you'll finish above Chelsea? That's the question.
I certainly don't feel as confident as I did at the start of the season, but we'll have to see what happens. There's plenty of games. There's 28 league games left. There's plenty of points to play for.
Oh, there's definitely. Listen,
nobody's ever won a league title on the 1st of November.
I agree. But it's just that you mentioned something that Sir Alex Ferguson said there about clean sheets. It's interesting.
You still have to play each other twice as well.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Interesting.
Cannot wait for that.
Let's move on, Graham.
I love you. I love you, Darren. When he busting your balls.
I think Eno's just hoping we're in 7th. Lukaku goes missing against the 4-6.
It'll be the one game, won't it, where Jorginho's injured, he doesn't get the penalty and Lukaku gets it.
Let's move on, Graham. The match that was billed yesterday on Sunday or on Saturday evening as El Sacco, and it lived up to its billing this morning, didn't it? With the news of Nuno gone, Conte potentially coming in, looking pretty close at this stage. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. This looking 2 months now that when before your team play, you're looking forward to team getting results, maybe a win or a draw, but we had a great start to the season. The first 3 games, 9 points. There was no Harry Kane in the squad. It's like we didn't need him. 3 great wins, especially against City. And then after that, he comes back into the squad and he's hardly fucking hit the barn yet. He haven't hit the goal yet. Against United the other day, fucking useless. Sorry for the language, but
no, that's okay.
Talking from the heart, Graham. Keep at it, brother.
The quality is in the squad, with Son and all that. But Harry Kane knows what he can do, but he's just I don't fucking care. It's, and I know some people have said that Nuno came at the Spurs and it wasn't the team for him. It was a bit of a big club. No offense to Wolves, but kind of another step up, another club. But his substitutions the past few weeks have been atrocious. The other night, I even said it to you, Niall. Why in the hell would he take Lucas Moura off? He was one of the best players on the pitch, apart from anyone else doing their jobs. But even as well, when I said to you about our defence is atrocious. Eric Dyer for once, the Sanchez lad. We have Reguilon, but he has no leaders in front of him. He has to guard that goal because the 2 lads who already have it in centre back position have no chance in hell of keeping clean sheets. Because every game now, I think we concede at least 3 goals. It's contact.
I was in the pub with you the other night watching the game, and I could see the disappointment in you in terms of the substitutions and even in the way you played. And United reminded me of Liverpool the week before, insofar as they didn't even have to get out of gear really to do anything. And it was sorry. Yeah, go ahead. No, go on.
It's like when United went up. That's when we kind of, not that we had any chances on goal. I think we had no chances on goal. But I think when United went 1-0 up, I think we kind of just went defensive mode.
Capitulated, yeah.
Don't let United score anymore. Take a 1-0 defeat. But that's not the mindset you should be having.
It's hard to put your finger on really on what's happened there, really, because it's we know Nuno's a good coach. He's not a bad coach.
No.
It's just it's
Yeah, but I think we know what happened, really. Pochettino got sacked. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even apart from that, I mean, when you think about it, with Nuno going in there, I know he hasn't been given the time, obviously, to put his stamp on the team and stuff like that, and some of his decisions have been bewildering. And he looks like a guy who took on a job who very quickly realised it's not the place where he should be.
Yeah.
And he never looked happy or content or anything really, you know what I mean? And I know the start of the season, you 3 very good games at the start and you were top of the league with maximum points and stuff like that and all, but I never felt Nuno was the guy to go in there. I mean, he was the 5th or 6th choice.
Yeah.
Can I chime in there on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just as and I'm not going to give you a frame. Honestly, I know. Listen, of course, I enjoy seeing Tottenham suffer, but if I look at it as a football fan, as to what I see from the outside, like, was Nuno backed also in the transfer window? I mean, would Nuno not have liked to bring in someone like a Ruben Neves? I mean,
yeah,
Graham, I think you and me talked about that at the start of the season as well.
Yeah,
Ruben Neves would have been a prime candidate for for him to bring in and have his midfielder in there that he has as his guy. He just, Graham, sorry, go ahead.
That's the thing that previous managers do. You know, when you come from a previous club, like you take maybe 1 or 2 with you, you know. But he had a chance to buy them, but he just probably the funds weren't there. I know probably Neves was probably Wolves were probably looking for about 50 or 60 for him anyway. So
money that Tottenham have though.
Yeah.
Not under Daniel Levy, they don't.
No. Exactly.
He's as tight as a nun's knickers, man.
I'd say Nuno took that job on the basis that he was promised the money from the Kane sale, and the Kane sale fell through, and then Levy just shut the door and locked it and just ignored the fact that he was there.
So and therefore, it was a case that there's no transfer funds unless Kane is sold. So he pulled a blinder. He pulled a blinder on someone. There should have been funds there regardless of Kane's sale or not.
Yeah.
I think that's something will come out. I think we'll hear that, you know, over the next couple of weeks.
Me too.
And you'll hear Nuno and he'll say, you know, well, Harry Kane was supposed to be sold and the money was obviously supposed to go to rejuvenate.
But the other thing that was there as well is obviously Nuno was going in there as a new manager, and with Kane being sold, then Kane was out of the way. So it's an opportunity for Nuno to put his own stamp on the team. And then with Kane, but that's what I mean. But when Kane came back into the picture, his arm was forced in terms of having to play him. It's very difficult to drop the guy, because even if Levy's plan is to move Kane on in January or in June, he has to play ball. Has to keep him in the window.
Yeah,
and especially considering Kane's really their only out and out striker. So I mean, failing playing Kane as well, you're then starting to look at who's going to take that position in the squad and in the team. You know.
Yeah, and when they did for the first 3 games, they played outstanding football. And that's when Kane came back in, it became the Harry Kane show, which is much bigger than the Nuno show. And that's where it fell apart.
Well, Niall, I know your natural segue will be into, obviously, the potential incoming of Antonio Conte, which I am still not convinced, I'm going to be honest with you, that is because he's still stalling, and he's stalling for a reason. It's the same goddamn story that happened in the summer. He was willing to talk, but then, you know, because Romano has said as well, there's still negotiations. He's still not convinced. And the reason, it's quite clear why he's not convinced, because what is he going to be given in the summer? Now, and Darren, you'll probably agree with me on this. Not many people know Conte's management style, but more so his actual personality than myself. I'm a massive fan. One of my favorite managers. I was delighted when he came into Chelsea. One of my favorite players of all time. Hell, I'm wearing the jersey that he played in. Not the actual jersey, but you know what I mean.
Close enough.
He's around the same size, yeah. But one of the things that Antonio Conte is a stickler for is having players to fit roles, regardless. He's not a name guy, but if he wants a guy for 30 million, even if he's 31 or 32 years old, if he wants him, it's non-negotiable. Like, If he wants Nemanja Matic from Man United, just say, for example,
Mm.
Man United want 40 million. He wants the fucking guy to pay that 40 million. And that's it. And he'll get the hump real quick. He's not about that. He wants experienced players, and then they bring in. Now, one question that I would have for you boys, and you in particular, Graham, is he's going to go to three at the back. That's what he does. It's the three at the back. And if you look at his time with Chelsea, you know, it was Cahill, Louise, you know, Terry, or whoever he had, you know, at that particular time. It's the same with Inter Milan. He had Skriniar. You know, he had whoever he had. What? Exactly. Yeah. Who in that back line with Tottenham now, unless he finds a gem, and he will always find a gem, don't get me wrong. He will, but he'll pick one gem and that's it. Do you know what I mean? He wants experience.
The boy Romero could be a gem.
Romero.
Yeah. Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm thinking if he comes in January, he's going to be looking for defenders. He's probably going to bring John Terry or Gary Cahill out of retirement and sign them on a free and get money. Do you know? No, but I'm joking. But this is the kind of manager you're thinking of. He's not going to be looking at your Ruben Neveses or your Declan Rices. He's going to want experience. It wouldn't surprise me if he looks at someone like an Arturo Vidal again and just go, bring him in no matter the cost. I want him, and that's it. Now, those sort of players will come in and steady the ship and do the job and fit Conte's system. But this is a recipe for disaster within a year. Within 12 months, Levy and Conte is a recipe for absolute disaster.
Oil and water, they won't mix at all.
Yeah, because most will be told.
And I've heard United fans all day. United fans all day and on all forums and on everything saying, you know, he's a class manager. He'll do this, he'll do that. I had United fans tell me all day, Spurs will win a league title before we will. I said, lads, you think Spurs are going to win a league title before we do? You need to stop doing drugs at your lunch hour because it's fucking bad for you, lads.
Aaron, I'll tell you what Conte is. He's not a great manager. What he is a fucking world class, and I mean world class, top three coach.
Yeah.
Manager, forget about it. Chelsea would have had 3 years of Diego Costa if it wasn't.
Probably, if you could get him to take the ego out of it, if you had him as a number 2 and allowed him to coach on a daily basis, he could be amazing.
There you go.
But you have to remember with Spurs as well. Spurs have gone through a series of managers. And maybe what they need now is that kick up the arse in terms of a coach. But the problem for Spurs as well is Spurs need to find something that's kind of immediate because they need to break their way back in there again and try and find a way to maybe get in the conversation for a bit of silverware, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, whatever it is that they're still involved in, stuff like that. So I think Conte will do all right there because I don't think Conte is going to go in that door unless he has agreement meticulous to the point of exactly what he wants. I think that's why he didn't go in there in the summer because what he was promised, they fell back on. And that's why when he wasn't getting what he wanted, he went, fuck you, basically. But I think if Conte goes in there, I think Levy will relent and have to give him what he wants because he'll walk out of there after 3 months. He doesn't give a shit.
No, but Niall, like me and Darren, like Darren and myself, should I say, are saying is that for 12 months it will work. And that's it. Because Levy will renege.
I don't think you bring a manager like that in and give him an 18-month deal. If the truth's being, you know what I mean? This is what is apparently on the table. So Levy himself has reservations about how this relationship is going to work out.
And I'm sure Conte does too.
And I mean, maybe that's why they're saying this. Let's put 18 months down. Let's revisit this after 12 months and see if there's an extension or see if we part ways and see if Poch has got the sack at PSG and we can get him back in the door and keep everybody happy again. You know,
I can't see Poch going back in there again after the way it is.
I see Poch. Don't forget Newcastle are on the horizon now as well. I mean, Newcastle are going to be in the summer. They're going to be looking. I mean, especially in the summer.
I think Poch could be one that United try and prize out of there in January or something like that.
Well, that would be the perfect fit, I think, for United.
I don't see Poch going back to Spurs. And that's the problem with Spurs as well. With the way they've played their cards, there's not a lot of options out there for them.
I think this is too big. I actually think, I'll be honest with you, I think this is too big a manager for Spurs. And like, if they get him, grand, he will definitely steady the ship between now and the end of the season. but I think that's where it ends. If I'm being honest.
Do you know what I did today when I heard about the news breaking, and I was talking to Darren earlier in the day and all. I went back and I had a look at Antonio Conte's stats, and yeah, but not only that, I looked even deeper into the real stats to read the story, and you know the way they talk about how he plays negative football and all this kind of thing and stuff like that, and he has
that's not true.
No, I know, but this is where I'm going with it now. His attacking stats are practically similar to Klopp and Tuchel's, believe it or not.
You see, the thing is, I'll tell you firsthand, watching, like, because if you look at Antonio's system, and then you look at, like, on paper, if you look at the actual formation, you look at that on paper, and then you look at Tuchel's system, they almost look identical in terms of just the shape. The difference is he plays counter-attack football. It's not that fast-flowing football. He likes the big man up front, and Kane is perfect for him. He likes that big target man up front, and he likes to go direct, very direct. Not even kind of in the way that Klopp would go direct with the wingers around. He goes direct, and he likes the players in off them. That's when he had, the likes of Hazard and I think even Andre Schürrle had his best moments under. Under
he didn't have any good moments, that kid. He was fucking shocking.
No, but I'm saying his best moments, and there were few and far between. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is that he likes his wingers to come in and play off the striker, which it's not uncommon, as we know, with that kind of 3-4-3 system. But if you look at it with Inter Milan, it's the same system that he played last year as well. But then you look at Conte's bad moments when he gets the hump. You look at the disgrace that he put on against Man City that time, where basically he allowed Man City to just pass the ball around him. And because he didn't get the signings that he wanted, he just basically put down arms and just went,
saying it out.
There is a
very bad attitude.
Petulance with him, isn't there?
Very bad attitude, man. Very bad attitude. I mean, for a man that, lost his hair once for his playing days and then got to put back in, he's fucking. He really is petulant. That's the exact word, Darren. And to be honest with you, I can't see anything other than disaster within this 18 months. I don't know when it'll happen, but it will happen. It is inevitable.
I don't know. I'm a little bit different. I'm not saying it won't eventually break down, because he eventually breaks down everywhere he goes. But I think what's needed at Spurs right now is the likes of Levy and that squad need the biggest kick up in the bollocks that they can get, to be honest. And I think he'd be the man that would deliver that. And he'll walk in there with a reputation that he'll be able to stand across from Harry Kane and stare him down and tell him what's what. Yeah, whereas I don't think Nuno was the kind of guy that could do that. I don't think your man, what's his name, Mason Ryan, is the guy to do that. I just think it's like, I think they need a big manager in there, and they need to be given the opportunity to try and do what they need to do. And as I said, there's no other options out there. It's not like they're going to take a player. They're not going to convince a coach to leave it, or a manager to leave a team at the moment to go in there. So it has to be someone who's available. So who's out there who's available in reality,
Well, he is, and he is a tough guy. Like, you know what I mean? Antonio Conte was a tough customer as a player. This is a lad who basically put it up face to face to Diego Costa and had no problem with it. You know what I mean? He's not afraid of anyone. He's the Italian Roy Keane. I mean, anyone that knows his playing days, Darren, I'm sure you watched Antonio Conte. Yeah. Roy Keane was always a big fan of him as well. He's basically that kind of player. He's rugged.
Yeah, he's an antagonizing little prick, the same as Roy Keane, if you ask me.
Exactly.
Pair of little pricks.
Yeah, the exact
small
same.
Mickey syndrome. That's all you have going on with them. Starting arguments with blokes because they've got small Mickeys. Fucking get the fuck out of here, Kane. Conte, pair of swines.
It's not even the height that's the problem. It's the lack of Mickey.
That's it.
Absolutely. But listen, we'll see what's going to unfold. But it looks like listen to some of the credible outlets today. From the sounds of it, the deal is very, very close. Apparently, he could fall down maybe just on which car park space they offer him or something like that. But and let's move on. Newcastle, Chelsea. They hung witches for 60 minutes and then it all kind of fell apart.
Yeah, that's it. Look, I saw Alan Shearer, by the way. I don't know how Alan Shearer hasn't got one of the bigger punditry roles, to be honest, because he's far better than this toe sucker Paul Scholes, and not even just toe sucker, daughter toe sucker, little inbred weirdo. You know, it's baffling. When you hear,
no, he's about as much personality as a fucking cardboard plate.
I know. Yeah, and he's ahead like the old Cabbage Patch Dolls as well, like except they're worth more.
On the secondary market.
On the secondary market. No, I mean, look, it's again, Shearer said it best. He goes, like, we were missing Mount, Lukaku, Werner. We were missing a lot of players. Just ground Newcastle down at home. And I had said that I'm always kind of at St. James's Park, I'm always weary, and especially the fact that they had sacked Steve Bruce as well. You were expecting a little bit of a bounce back, but obviously Tuchel knew that and just set his fucking squadron up just to be ready for anything. Unbelievable. Once again, Niall, you said it on the Chelsea Roar last night. Reece James was man of the match, but El Darren's favourite midfielder could have easily been man of the match as well. After it was just absolutely phenomenal. Just
did he outbattle John Joe Shelby and Isaac Hayden? What a footballer!
Everyone, as he always does, Darren. As he always does. He's just a trooper, an absolute trooper. And
was it Sean or Matty Longstaff that asked for his jersey?
It doesn't matter. It was one of the gingers. I can't remember which. It was one of those. It was one of those hacks from FIFA.
That was. I would add that was the same midfield that gave United quite a scare earlier in the season.
It was.
Did we not beat them 4-0?
Oh, you did, yeah. But if you go back to that game,
we beat them 4-0.
Oh, you did, yeah. You did, yeah.
Although I don't believe McTominay's in the conversation.
We won 4-0 and they gave us a scare.
Yeah. Oh, they did. Go back and look at that game again. Don't let that scoreline fool you.
He's also the same player that basically against 10 men dictated the game against Liverpool at Anfield. So, just thought I'd throw that out there. And I believe at Anfield there was. Oh no, it wasn't even Anfield. Sorry, Old Trafford. Anyway. Moving along, 3-0 Chelsea, yeah.
So all good.
Jorginho 2022. No, it was. I'm only winding Darren up. Me and him have a little thing, and everyone knows it's going to be a season-long thing with Jorginho. No, all joking aside, Reece James. I mean, good lord, that lad has rockets in his right boot, right? Darren, I know you're a big fan of Reece James, anyway.
I'm a big fan, and do you know why I'm his biggest fan? Because he's like a hybrid between Trent Alexander-Arnold and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He can actually defend and attack at the same time and do it properly. He's tops, absolutely tops. I'd hazard a guess, if he's not England's right back for the next 10 years, there's something going wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, at the moment on form, Niall, you said it as well, even Ben Chilwell on the other side, Chile has just come back. Chile was put on the sidelines, from England, which was crazy. They played a right back at left back and had Chilwell on the bench. I don't know what Gareth Southgate was doing, but Chilwell's reaction to sitting on the bench to Marcos Alonso, the slowest lad on the planet, was just, his comeback has been absolutely phenomenal. So I dare say at the moment you're looking at, on form, the two best wing backs in the league without a shadow of a doubt.
Marcos Alonso looks like he should be in the Olympic final compared to Nemanja Matic, pal.
He looks like he should be doing hairdressing for men, to be honest with you. I mean, that hair is exquisite. It is exquisite, to be fair. It's
a male perm.
It's a fantastic hairdo. But no, I mean, Ben Chilwell and Reece James at the moment on form. Yeah. You're looking at the two best wing backs. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's the best back line in football at the moment, and there's no doubt about that. I mean, the stats, the stats show that, and going to the Darren's point earlier, as possibly the best manager of all time said, like, if you keep clean sheets, this is the 5 points ahead now. It's going to be very hard for teams to claw back from that, because you've got a base now. You know what I mean? And especially us going into a home game against Burnley. it's absolutely phenomenal, especially with
3 points ahead, 5 points ahead of City.
Sorry, ahead of City, yeah, but yeah, absolutely.
Don't be putting City into the equation yet.
I'm just actually excited when I look at that at the City one. Now, I didn't mean to.
Now it may be come Sunday.
But the point I'm making is, it's absolutely phenomenal when you look at it's like you said last week, the amount of goal scorers that, you can't defend against a team like that where there's goals coming from absolutely every single area of the pitch. It's very, very scary.
Absolutely. Yeah, good points. Good shout, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. I'll touch on Liverpool and Brighton because I was at the game. I thought we started off the first 20 minutes. I thought we were very strong with the press and everything else. We got the 2 goals. And then for some reason, we just vacated positions at times, lost Keita to an injury, brought on Ox, which just does my head in. Curtis Jones had a very bad game, dropped
Although
off.
he did create the second goal.
He did create the second goal, but that's it for the day. And then he just gave the ball away for the rest of the day, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, our midfield basically just went missing. It exposed our back line. And Graham Potter, who we all revere on this show, and we talk about him all the time, fantastic coach.
Shout out to Graham Potter.
Worked us out at half-time, also has a tremendous beard. Worked us out at half-time, played into the channels, cut inside, opened up that space. And at the end of the day, I think we were lucky to even come away with a point. I think Brighton could have beaten us on another day.
I think, and I know you guys are a big fan already, but I think that was almost like a little dress rehearsal for Yves Bissouma there at the weekend. I thought he was super in the Brighton midfield, like really, really took control of the game. When Brighton started to get on top, he took the game by the scruff of the neck and said, "Right, I'm gonna do this." For a little while, I've kind of felt Liverpool were a little bit light in midfield, and I think he'd be a phenomenal addition to our squad. Now he's going to cost you probably 40 million.
Probably another 20, I'd say.
Well, I'd say, listen, we might even meet halfway and say 50, but he's going to cost you big bucks. But you know what? He's a serious footballer. He's got an amazing engine on him. He can create. He can defend. His box
to box is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's absolutely super. A lad I'd love to see United, but ultimately, I think Liverpool kind of have been watching them a little bit closer than most teams, and I wouldn't be just surprised come the end of the season to see them, cash in some of them gyro checks and try and get them in.
Yeah, hopefully, definitely. We've had problems there now in midfield in terms of injuries and stuff like that. Keita's kind of been in and out of the side, but when he's been in, he showed some of the flashes of brilliance of what he can do, but just try and get that consistency. Thiago has had injuries, Fabinho has had injuries, so we've been a little bit light. And trying to get Jordan Henderson to play that Fabinho role on Saturday, although he did a reasonable job of it against United the week before, but he didn't really have much that he was up against, being honest. It was an easy day at the office. But on Saturday, against the likes of a Bissouma, who's such a strong midfielder, he was kind of found out and just had a really, really bad day at the office. And as I said, coming away with a point, although it felt like a defeat, I think in the end we were lucky to even get a point, to be honest, which was really, really poor.
Niall, just a quick one, actually. If you were to do a quick fire thing, just a quick fire, because January is coming up. And we're talking about teams that need to strengthen. Do you know what I mean? Because they need to. And it might only be one player. But if we were to kind of say for our 4 teams, who would be the player that you see the most realistic, as in that you sign?
Now realistic, or who you want? And
realistic, and who people have been linked with. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, here's the thing though. Like, if the Sun linked me with fucking Messi, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna buy Messi. So we have to.
No, I'm thinking of who you think you. Okay, well, who you think you need, and who you've been linked with. I'll start
off here. I only want one footballer at Man United right now. Only one. If I can have one footballer all day long, I want Frank Kessie.
Yeah.
All day long.
I think he would absolutely solidify defy that Man United midfield. I think that's exactly the yin to Pogba's yang, because that's you're getting your version of Kante, aren't you?
Unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
He's the new Kante, basically.
He's just top of the pot, and he's like strong as an ox. He's got super touch. He can pick a pass. He takes a penalty. Like, he's quality. I would love Kessie sitting in front of our back four there, playing in that double pivot, opening out little 5-10 yard passes, getting the ball into those wingers and letting lads have a go at people. I think that he'd be unbelievable for us.
Now that kind of lends itself to Liverpool as well. Well, you know, because he's been linked to both Liverpool and United, hasn't he? So
yeah, he did.
I think he's a little bit out of Liverpool's price range, and I don't mean that to sound.
I don't think he'd be that expensive, Darren.
I think he's going to cost you more than Basuma is.
Probably about 60 million.
I don't think so. I think that's a stretch. I think that's a stretch.
So?
I don't think so at all. I think you could pick up Kessie off Milan for somewhere in the 40 to 45 range. I don't think you're getting Basuma out of Brighton for that type of money. Premier League proven, absolute box to box, one of the best midfielders in the league. There's no way you're picking him up for 45. We inquired about him already. No, I'm talking about Basuma in terms of in comparisons.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. Yeah.
In terms of pricing, I think Basuma will cost a lot more money than Kessie. I really do. The fact that he's at Brighton is kind of irrelevant. I think he's a Premier League proven midfielder.
I don't know, man.
Box to box.
AC Milan have been able to fend off some big offers, like from the likes of PSG and Real Madrid for Kessie over the last few years.
Well, the talk was the original offer that went in for him in the summer. I can't remember who it was for something in the region of 29.5.
Yeah, but
I know that's on the low side and they didn't accept it. But he's not going for that.
That's someone lowballing you on a Funko. Get the hell out of here, pal.
Yeah, but you're not. But he's not going. But you're not. He's not. I don't think so, because I don't think. I seen him play against us at Anfield, and I'm a fan of him. But on that
night, what did you pay for Keita? By the way, 70.
No, 48.
No,
definitely more than that.
68 points up, I think it was.
No, he was around the 50 mark. He was 48 or 50.
No,
I think he was.
Look
68.
It up there. No, he wasn't. There's no way he was nearly 70 million. He was 48 to 50 or something. Now talk pounds here, not euros, are we?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to look for.
One of them.
52.7.
There you go.
Yeah, well then, Naby Keita is worth far more.
60 odd euro.
I knew it was 60 odd euros.
No, yeah.
So he's definitely Naby Keita. He's like, if you're looking for Frank Casey and they know that, he's definitely coming in higher than that.
No, but I'm talking about in comparison to Basuma. I'm not comparing him to Keita.
No, but I'm saying that AC Milan will definitely not do you a deal on a player like that. No,
but what I'm saying is we're talking about.
I won't get one free on Frank.
I don't. I think to get Basuma 60 out of Brighton will take more money than to get Kessie out of Milan.
I don't believe so. Definitely not.
No, I don't either. I have to say no.
Well, we'll see.
What about Graham? Who do you think you need? Graham, Gary Cahill for you, free?
No, I can't see us going after any player that Chelsea or Liverpool or United would be looking for.
But that's why you have Conte now, because he'll look for the 33-year-old Boateng.
Well, I think if Conte comes
Kevin
in,
Prince, not George.
I think we might go back. I know we agreed a transfer fee for him before, but we couldn't agree on his personal terms, which was the Bala.
Here now. That's aiming high.
I know it is, but like does come in, he would probably go for someone like that.
Are they pumping magic mushrooms at the Richmond Park tonight, Graham?
But I know last week as well, the news over Inter Milan won't let Christian Eriksen play again because they don't want to take the risk.
Well, you want to?
Well, no, but he would be an option. But I for himself, personal and health wise, I don't think he should play again. But I know himself. He probably wouldn't want to retire, thinking that he had a few years left. But if looking at it, health wise, and if the doctor says you should give it up, give it up.
I have to be honest. I mean this. We take an awful lot of piss around here, right? But I genuinely do mean this in the nicest possible way. I'd find it very hard to watch a game of football with Christian Eriksen playing after having to watch, the Euros. I genuinely would. Like, that was fucking scary shit, man.
I would not watch it. I seen
footage the other day of him kicking the ball around and playing keepy uppies. And I even fell off my chair looking at that going, please stop.
Just sit down.
I would feel very uneasy watching that poor lad play football again. And I don't, I'm not saying that to be controversial or anything. That's genuine. Like, it was, I remember where I was actually when the whole thing was happening. And it was really, really, like, it was heartbreaking. And you were like, is this guy gonna make
you were the first one to bring it to our attention, actually, in the group, Darren.
That's right. And I was actually in the pro shop in Clontarf Golf Club. I was heading out to play a few holes at the Unflit, and it was on the TV and the thing, and I was like, holy shit, Christian Eriksen's, like, I was like, what the hell is, and it was just, oh my God, I was just, I'd say I rattled for the first 3 or 4 holes. I was just in such shock, because like a guy that we've seen in the Premier League, a guy that was linked with United, a guy that we've all watched, even from obviously playing for Denmark and absolutely butcher in Ireland, and you thought, wow, what a footballer, and just to see him like that was heartbreaking. So, like, I don't know if I'd be able to do that again. There's no point.
No, I don't want him anywhere near a football pitch again. No, the only way I want him near a football pitch is if he's maybe an assistant,
a coach or something.
Yeah. I'm blaming that on your golf game, huh?
Bring Luka Modric back or something.
Yeah.
Let's get into the.
Who's the best player from Pat? Who's the best player from Pats? Bring him in.
For me, Chris Forrester.
All right, big Chris, come on in, play for Tottenham. Give me grand.
Does my mate still play for Pats? Conal Bourne.
Who? Conan Bourne.
Conan Bourne.
Oh, he retired.
Did he?
Yeah.
He does drag queen sets in the George now.
He now blames Christian Eriksen on his first 4 holes on the golf course as well. Get out of that, Darren, will you?
I don't even golf, and I'm blaming.
Darren has a best mate in every team in the League of Ireland at this stage.
Who's your best mate in Bray, Darren? Finn Balor.
Pat Devlin used to have dinner at the table in my ma's house.
I know. Stop.
And how much was he offering her?
Shout out to Pat. Pat was my dad's best friend.
Oh, well, Pat was everyone's best friend in Bray.
Every time you mention a team to him, he just pulls a jersey out of the bag, all signed up from every team.
Which one?
Pat Devlin. I know Pat well as well. Pat was fucking everyone's best friend. He joined you up.
Devil, my dad grew up together as kids, and Devil was chief scout for Newcastle over here. And my dad sent quite a few lads over to Newcastle through Devil. Devil's a good man.
Really? Well, you ask whether he was a good man. He was a bleeding poison to our club anyway.
This must have been on weekends away over there, wasn't it, when Shearer was playing or something?
Ever was a poison to our club. All he
had a hook up for tickets
hemorrhage money out of fucking Bray Wanderers, the little weasel. Sorry if he's a bit of a fucking, but then again, it takes one to know one, Darren, right?
Bit of a Del boy, huh?
Let's get into a quick look at the Champions League fixtures coming up this week. Darren, massive game against Atalanta away.
Yeah, really big game. I did call it a few weeks ago, Niall. I'm going to stick with my prediction. I think this could be an easier game for us than the home leg. I think Atalanta feel like this is a game they must win to go through to the next round. And I think they're going to go all guns blazing, and they're going to leave massive gaps at the back, and we'll pick them off. And we're going to come out 3-1 victors tomorrow night.
This is
come on, United.
This is El Sacco Part 2, is it?
Yeah.
This is
Potentially.
I think this could be the nail in the coffin. Personally, I think it's fucking.
I think I'd enjoy it more.
I think they're gonna. I think that he's sacked already, and then they're gonna go Conte. Fucking yeah.
Can you imagine? Ian, Malmo versus Chelsea, just another walk in the park, I'd imagine.
It should be, yeah.
Absolutely. And
Darren, think is back though.
Darren called it last week or the week before with me when Man City were playing Bruges. I felt Bruges had somewhat of a chance against them, and they absolutely slapped them up. Darren called it. Paul called in the show that they would get slapped up. I said Bruges might present something, and then I went into hiding after about 25 minutes because I knew the boys had called me on it. Probably one of the toys of the round, Liverpool versus Atletico. This is Klopp versus Simeone Part 10 at this stage.
The toy of the round, isn't it? Really?
One of them, I'd say, yeah, absolutely, definitely. In terms of bite and nastiness and grit, my biggest
concern is it's like a pro wrestling story, isn't it? After Klopp takes them down the tunnel, like it's kind of, you know what I mean. You want to see what happens next week.
Yeah, this is an interesting one for me because we can't afford to have any more players kicked about. Really, we can't afford to lose any more players at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what approach Klopp takes to this. I think he'll probably ring the changes and make a good few changes in the team, to be honest. I don't see him going out with the same 11 that played against Brighton. The body language was all wrong and pretty poor. So I think he'll ring some changes if he can. But hopefully we get the win, and that puts us through to the next round.
What's your prediction?
Winners of the group. 3-1 Liverpool.
Ooh.
I was going to go 2, to be fair.
I think we owed them one after the last time at home as well. But be interesting to see. But I think we'll bounce back from that Brighton result. I think that was a poor showing, and I think the boys have a lot to prove.
What do you think, Dan?
I'm going to go 2-1 Atletico.
Of course, yeah.
Listen, how many times have I backed you guys to win this season? Right, that's not my modus operandi, let's say.
Brighton, Brentford.
but I do think they have. There was a stage in the 90s there, Ian. I don't know whether you remember it. That Chelsea just had Man United's number. We used to lose to the odd John Spencer goal.
Remember the October the 3rd, 1999. Gus Poyet scored within 20 seconds with a header.
Yeah, and sometimes teams just have your number. And I just think Atletico have yours at the minute, unfortunately for you guys. And we think Atletico are gonna turn you over and create a bit of havoc in that group for you guys.
We shall see. Certainly an interesting conundrum and toy to come.
Chelsea 3-0 away.
Let's touch on one thing, Darren. The situation with Ollie. Let's talk about that to kind of round out the show. Got a big win there against Spurs. If he goes on and wins against Atalanta and pulls off a win on the derby at the weekend, does he stay or is he gone?
I personally speaking, I think the decision has already been made. I think we're all just waiting for the trigger to be pulled. I'm a firm believer that they're trying to give the incoming manager the best run of games possible to get themselves off to a decent start. So I imagine we're probably going to see Ollie in charge for most of, if not all of the month of November. And then when we get towards the end of the month and after the City game and the Chelsea game, we'll probably see a change in the guard there at United. Because I don't think he's going to pick up the results that he needs. And I think the board know that. And I think they're just being very tactical and clever about when they bring a new manager in and what they expose them to straight away. Games against City and Chelsea probably aren't ideal from a starting point of view.
Does that mean that there's a new way of United thinking that the board are going to be tactical and clever?
It could happen. It could. Or they could be absolutely double bluffing us and going to tell us in 2 weeks he's just signed a 6-year deal.
I have a feeling that they're going to let him ride the storm for the season, to be honest with you. Unless it gets to that point, I'll be honest with you, Darren, unless it gets to that point where, like, it's just untenable, as they say.
There was something I was going to mention earlier on when Graham was talking about Spurs, and I suppose it's the only thing that, for me at the minute, is keeping Solskjaer there, is you guys went out against us the weekend and didn't have a shot on target,
Yeah.
United, for all our bad defeats and for all our poor performances, some of the lads still look like they're trying to pull in his direction, and they're they pulled it out of the bag against Atalanta and against Villarreal and stuff like that, and they still look like they're trying to pull in his direction. My issue would be, does he know how to orchestrate a squad of players like that? That's where I would see he's falling down. But I do think that there's a certain amount there where the lads are saying, you know what, we like this guy. He's been good to us. He's treated us good. Yeah, maybe he hasn't got the tactical nous and stuff like that, but we're going to go out and we're going to put our best foot forward for him as often as we can, because he's that likeable kind of a character. He's a club legend and stuff like that. But I still think ultimately his days are numbered, you know?
Yeah, I think a defeat. I think a defeat on Sunday. Or sorry, is a Saturday lunchtime, is it, for the Manchester Derby?
Saturday, where the early kick-off on Saturday, 12:30.
Saturday lunchtime. I think if that's a defeat, I think he goes then. I don't think
I think United are gonna win that.
Yeah. Well, I think if City win, I think he has to go, because I think you can't stare into the international break and just let the cancer spread and spread and spread and spread and spread. I think they have to man up, make a decision. The problem is, who are you going to get out and who are you going to prize out of a club? Because there's not too many people free at the moment. So you're going to have to pay a severance, and you're going to have to try and release someone out of a club, whether that's a Rodgers or a Ten Hag or whoever it is. You know what I mean?
Or if they're got otherwise they're got, if that's not the case, then they're going to Zidane route. You know, because there isn't really another alternative out there that's free at the minute, if you ask me.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. With Zidane, you're not getting a better manager than Conte.
But you're definitely getting a better manager than Ole.
I think you're getting a different skill set completely, and that was something maybe I spoke about Niall with on the Ole show that we did.
Yeah, by the way, that was a great show. For anyone that hasn't heard it, go back and check out Darren's show, which I absolutely really enjoyed. Even as a Chelsea fan, I thought it was a great conversation piece where Darren was kind of talking about potential managers, but then giving your own input on managers that you'd like to see come in. So that's actually a great episode. Great episode.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
I think from a tactical point of view, I'd like to either see Ten Hag or Rodgers, but I do think Zidane has merits on the basis of what I said to Niall, that, you know, the egos and the personalities around the United dressing room. I think he's somebody that could get control of that and say, actually, lads, yous are all shy because I beat yous off my left foot and one hand tied behind me back and my eyes closed. So, you know, and none of the lads could argue with that, because they go, yeah, this kid's not lying, you know. Even the likes of Ronaldo will respect somebody like Zidane, because, you know, he'll look and he'll go, yeah, all right, maybe he's a cunt, or maybe he's this, or maybe he's that. But can I really argue that he's not up there as one of the unbelievable players of all time, one of the top players? I don't think you could.
Isn't that similar, Darren, to kind of when Lampard did come into Chelsea, because there was no one bigger than him in the dressing room? Do you know what I mean? It's like, especially before, obviously for his club, there was nobody in that Chelsea dressing room that was better than him. You know, they were up-and-comers, but there's no one in there that could have an ego.
Yeah, I see. And here's the thing about that. Like, in people's heads, they can magic themselves up to be better than they are. So I genuinely believe there was probably guys in that changing room that thought, yeah, Frank, you're all right, but you're not fucking this, that, and a brand new hat. Whereas I don't think there's an argument with Zidane. I just think
it's his managerial CV as well.
Yeah. Well, listen, he walks in with 3 Champions Leagues. And I mean, anyone that walks in with 3 Champions Leagues is going to turn someone's head, and they're going to go, Jesus, are we in the mix up here? Are we in the shape?
Someone out there will put him down as the greatest player of all time, and you can't really argue it. You know what I mean? Because it's a different type of player. If someone turned around and said, I believe that Zinedine Zidane is the best player of all time, how do you argue that? Or because he didn't score as many goals as Ronaldo or Messi? Not the same type of player. Yeah, I mean, he scored, in my opinion, the best goal in a Champions League final against Valencia. You know, this guy is clutch.
And has a hell of a loaf.
Yeah.
Ask Materazzi.
Just ask.
I personally could see the Zidane. I'll be honest with you. I think a Zidane Man United partnership could be something golden, as in, you know, you're dealing with one of the golden generation players with one of the golden generation teams, and it could very well be successful. I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, it's not out of the ether to think that it wouldn't work.
Well, I suppose I think from United's point of view, I mean, if they bring Zidane in there and they can't find the blend and the mix, well, then where do they go then? They've had Mourinho, they've had Van Gaal, they had Moyes, they had Oli, they've had Zidane. If that doesn't work out, where do you go? You know, you're talking.
Then it's time to pick up the phone to good old Mike Bassett.
Mike Bassett.
Paul McGuinness in again. That's the U2 manager, just to make this fucking team successful again.
Well, listen, man, an absolute pleasure having you on, as always, on Mondays. This is the Monday Mashup, brought to you by the Upper Tier on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Man, a pleasure as always. Drop your comments in there. Let us know any tips for Darren's golf game so he stops using these excuses. Let's see what happens. Graham and Daniel Levy don't seem to care about the health of a man's heart. They're happy to bring him in and potentially play football again.
They said they'd cart him in if you could give him 15 minutes.
Yeah, even bring him on like Ollie as a super.
Very heartless of you.
Till next time, man. An absolute pleasure. Cheers.